Welcome to Black Spring. Now, we come to the wicked end, the weekend that is, but not without a sting of attack or gaffe on the black community and their identity. Well, this week, the former Vice President Joe Biden started with, quote, "If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black, you are not black." And it ended with an apology. An apology, it seems, for all seasons. Now, his apologist is none other than his female senior advisor, who happens to be black, Simone Sanders, who issued a statement over Twitter. Now, the statement reads, Vice President Biden spent his career fighting alongside and for the African American community. He won his party's nomination by earning every vote and meeting people where they are. And that's exactly what he intends to do this November. So, I'd like to take you to perhaps a different side of the coin in which a bit of a contrary statement from Democratic hopeful or presidential candidate for 2020 during the primaries. Cory Booker has a bit of a different narrative. And as always, I'd like to thank everybody for joining me on this segment of Black Spring with Autumn.
For a guy who helped to be an architect of mass incarceration, this is an inadequate solution to what is a raging crisis in our country. And now he's unveiled his crime bill. For a guy who helped to be an architect of mass incarceration, this is an inadequate solution to what is a raging crisis in our country.
Once again, I'd like to thank everybody for joining me on this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. Now, so this is just a bit of a testament into the Democrat Party and a bit of a culture that they have established for themselves. I mean, not to mention, you can find statements in the 70s in which Joe Biden was on record as saying, quote, "Unless we do something about this jungle, my children are going to grow up in a jungle, a bit of a racial jungle, with tensions having built so high that it's going to explode at some point." I paraphrase. So, even without further ado, we can look back even in a shorter time frame than that and find other accounts from the presidential hopeful Joe Biden. Once again, I'd like to thank everybody for joining me on this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. I would like to bring you that clip. Thank you for your patience. And thank you for joining me on this segment of Black Spring with Autumn.
And I agree with you when you commit yourself to the importance of finding common ground. But I also believe, and it's personal, and I was actually it was hurtful to hear you talk about the reputations of two United States senators who built their reputations and career on the segregation of race in this country. And it was not only that, but you also worked with them to oppose busing.
Look, everything I've done in my career, I ran because of civil rights. I continue to think we have to make fundamental changes in civil rights. And those civil rights, by the way, include not just only African Americans, but the LGBT community.
But Vice President Biden, do you agree today that you were wrong to oppose busing in America then?
No,
do you agree?
I did not oppose busing in America. What I opposed is busing ordered by the Department of Education. That's what I opposed.
Well,
I
there
did
was
not
a
oppose.
failure of states to integrate
No,
public schools in America. I was part of the second class to integrate Berkeley, California public schools almost 2 decades after Brown v. Board of Education.
Because your city council made that decision. It was a
So
local
that's where the
decision.
federal government must step in. That's why we have the Voting Rights Act and the Civil Rights Act. That's why we need to pass the Equality Act. That's why we need to pass the ERA, because there are moments in history where states fail to preserve the civil rights of all people.
I'd like to thank everyone for joining me on this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. Now, you might say, well, it's not much there to see, but it does reinforce a bit of a culture in which the Democrat Party, they can't quite seem to unsteep themselves in identity politics, and it just ends up being a bit of a taste of cannibalism in their own culture with their own candidates and their colleagues. Now, I just want to end my final tag here by just saying, for the less offended or the uninformed, maybe an apology is all it takes. And once again, I'd like to thank everybody for joining me on this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. Have a great rest of your weekend.